welcome back and congratulations for making it to part 4. As I mentioned at the end of part 3, we've saved the best for last and you won't be disappointed. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's get going. Now before we jump into looking at those new wealth curves and the lifetime wealth potential from part 3, allow me to quickly share another important visual that compares a buy and hold investor versus a self-empowered investor using predetermined entry and exit triggers during this new age of investment bubbles. The following chart uses actual gains and losses of the S&P 500 for the buy and hold investor, and I've chosen a worst case scenario for the self-empowered investor by using an entry trigger that underperforms the S&P 500 gains by 25% and an exit trigger that realizes a 25% loss. Again, this is meant to show the importance of minimizing losses and protecting wealth and why it must be your #1 priority in this new age if you ever want to realize your lifetime wealth potential. Let's start with an investment of $100,000 on January 1st, 1995, when the S&P 500 was at 721, and let me build the case from there. No additional investment dollars are added, just $100,000 to start, and let it ride for both investors across this new age of investment bubbles that we've been in. At the peak of the tech bubble, the buy and hold investor would have realized a gain of 115% and seen their investment increase to $215,000, while a self-empowered investor would have realized a gain of only 90% due to their predetermined entry trigger, increasing their investment to $190,000. And that's the one and only time a buy and hold investor would realize such an advantage. After the tech bubble burst, note the difference of using a predetermined exit trigger to protect your wealth. Rather than lose 50.8%, a self-empowered investor only lost 25%. The buy and hold investor's wealth went down to $105,780, while self-empowered investors decreased to $142,500. Hopefully you're starting to realize the importance of protecting your wealth in this new age, but let's keep going so that you can see the full impact after multiple bubbles. At the peak of the housing bubble, $216,849 for the buy and hold investor, $256,500 for a self-empowered investor. Now here's an important point on this chart. Even though the buy and hold investment grew by 105% versus only 80% for a self-empowered investor, that 80% actually generated more real wealth. Why? Simply because of the power of a predetermined exit trigger to protect wealth. Now let's see what happens after the housing bubble burst. The buy and hold investor went down to $93,679. That's less than their initial $100,000 investment after 14 years. The self-empowered investor, on the other hand, ended up with $192,275, or more than double the buy and hold investor's wealth, and again, simply because of a consistent and disciplined strategy using predetermined entry and exit triggers. Well, let's not stop there while we're having fun. Let's extrapolate this further to the current bubble we're in. As of February 28, 2014, the S&P 500 has gained 175% during our current bubble's bull market run, and the value of the buy and hold investment would have soared to $257,617. Not bad, right? But the self-empowered investor's wealth saw the value of their investment grow to almost $500,000, or $480,935. Now, as all bubbles burst, and our current bubble is no different, what happens when this one does burst? I don't know. But for the sake of argument, let's assume it follows a similar pattern to that of the tech and the housing bubbles by losing 50%. Based on that assumption, the buy and hold investor would see the value of their investment fall to $128,808, and a self-empowered investor using an exit trigger would see the value fall to $360,702, almost tripling the value of a buy and hold investor. As you can clearly see, there's a huge difference between a buy and hold investor that's invested 100% of the time versus a self-empowered investor using predetermined entry and exit triggers specifically designed to protect and build lifetime wealth. If a financial advisor or anyone ever tells you the only way to build long-term wealth is by being invested 100% of the time as a buy and hold investor so you can capture all that market upside potential, show them this chart. Self-empowered investors understand the importance of minimizing losses in realizing their lifetime wealth potential. Okay, now it's time for the real fun to begin and what you've been waiting for. By looking at the wealth curves and lifetime wealth potential for 4 different investors, 2 of which don't leverage predetermined entry and exit triggers, and 2 self-empowered investors that do. We'll use the same assumptions as we did in part 2 to build these wealth curves. Let's begin with our average investor that the Dalbar report showed earned 2.29% per year during this new age. This will be the benchmark for determining that opportunity gap you choose to pursue for your lifetime wealth potential goal. Now let's add in that S&P 500 that delivered 8.21%. These curves look a little different than what they did in part 2, only because of what we're about to add. Now let's take lifetime wealth potential to a whole new level as informed and disciplined self-empowered investors. A self-empowered investor investing in 5 strategic asset classes and leveraging predetermined entry and exit triggers realized an annual return of 10.48% and created this wealth curve. This level of wealth would certainly allow most investors to realize a retirement beyond their wildest dreams, but what if? What if you not only wanted to live a retirement beyond your wildest dreams, but you also wanted to leave a legacy for generations to follow? It's our hope that every investor would want to leave a nice inheritance for their kids and perhaps their grandkids, and maybe create an endowment fund at a college or a charitable organization that has made a difference in their life. If that's your dream as it is mine, then check out this wealth curve for a self-empowered investor that invests in 13 strategic asset classes with an annual return of 12.04%. I still have a hard time comprehending that all 4 of these wealth curves generated their wealth from the same $240,000 initial investment. As fun as those wealth curves are to look at, check out the following table where we fill in those empty blanks from part 2 for investors number 3 and 4. This too blows me away every time I look at it. Now here are several questions to consider based on this chart. Why settle for $395,000 of wealth at age 65 when there's an opportunity to realize $5.2 million? And why settle for $193,000 of wealth at age 90 when there's an opportunity to realize $24.8 million? And why settle for $357,000 of retirement income when there's an opportunity to realize $15.2 million? And why settle for $14,000 a year to live on when there's an opportunity to live on $600,000 a year? The choice is yours, however. Your opportunity gap and the ability to bridge it is totally within your control. You can continue to be an average investor in this new age of investment bubbles by following the crowd, or allow yourself to dream big by choosing to pursue your lifetime wealth potential so you can live that retirement beyond your wildest dreams and hopefully leave that legacy for generations to follow. Being a successful investor in today's new age of investing does require a commitment to a disciplined strategy that's designed to protect wealth and ultimately help you realize your lifetime wealth potential. If you found this video series of value, I invite you to share it with your friends. Share it forward so others too can realize their lifetime wealth potential. Until next time, we at the Self-Empowered Investor wish you nothing but the best in all your future investment endeavors.